Hey there, I'm Amber Anderson. I'm a leadership coach. I help highly sensitive leaders learn how to maximize their impact in a way that is authentic, joyful, and expansive. Welcome to the channel. So, two of the main concerns that I hear with people all the time are I have no time or I have no energy. I'm so tired. I'm so exhausted, something along those lines. This is so common for women and highly sensitive leaders. It's actually so common that I would say it's more the norm than the exception these days. And that's unacceptable to me. So that is about to change. The good news is there's a pretty simple solution to solve both of these concerns, and that is exactly what we're diving into in this week's video. I always say it's not a time management problem, it's a mind management problem. And my clients often respond to that with, you just don't get it. There are literally not enough hours in the day to get done everything that I need to get done. I'm tired even just thinking about it. To which I reply, exactly. You are tired because of the way you're thinking about it. So, how do you solve for this? You self coach. First, you use a technique to soothe your nervous system. Even just a few deep breaths makes a really big difference to calm yourself down, bring yourself back into that window of tolerance so you can think clearly. Then, now that you can think clearly, you think thoughts on purpose that help you feel better. Even just a little bit better helps in this situation. So, first, soothe your nervous system. Second, manage your mind. But let's get a little bit more specific about some of the time wasting and energy draining habits that you're probably falling victim to without even realizing it. The most common that I see people falling victim to are worrying, procrastinating, people pleasing, being an indecision, judging yourself and others, complaining, and regretting. We're going to talk about each. So, worrying pretends to be beneficial, it pretends to be necessary, even, but it produces nothing of value. It's an action that burns up time without producing results. Then you have procrastinating. Procrastinating is a way to escape an uncomfortable emotion. It takes us away from the present moment and the present emotion, and it costs us time, again, without advancing the work. People pleasing is saying yes to someone to change how they feel about you. This is wasted time because you are trying to control the uncontrollable. And anytime you say yes to someone else and no to yourself, you're costing yourself time and energy. So just make sure that when you say yes, you're doing it from a place that is valuable and meaningful. And most importantly, it's deliberate and for the right reasons. Don't say yes to other people to try to control how they feel about you, to try to make them like you, to people please them. If you do this out of habit or self imposed or false obligations, it is a huge time waster and energy suck for you. Indecision, being in indecision, is one of the most common ways we spend our time uselessly without even noticing it. When we don't make a decision, we deny action. We choose to be stuck as time ticks by instead of making decisions and advancing the work. This is usually because we're afraid of making a mistake, but the only way you're going to find out if something works is to try it. My favorite, judging. Judging ourselves, probably mostly, and judging others. Neither gives us anything in return. If we could stop judging and instead be curious, we would be amazed at how much time and energy we have to produce and create. It's the same for complaining, but even worse, because usually when you're complaining, you're pulling other people into this time wasting and energy sucking activity. Then we have regretting. Regretting is a way we use our past to cost us our future. There's no upside to regret. You don't need to regret a past behavior or decision to never do it again. You can simply learn, let go, and move on. Time wasting and energy draining habits manifest in actions that might look something like this: repeatedly writing, reading, and revising emails to make sure you get it just right before hitting send, which doesn't really matter because if you're anything like I used to be, then you're also ruminating about the emails you already sent because you're worried you said something wrong, sounded incompetent, or potentially upset somebody. It might look like side texting your work bestie during that meeting to complain about so and so for saying that one thing, and then feeling bad about being negative and gossipy again. So basically, you're judging yourself for being judgy, which just adds a layer of unnecessary pain. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? We all do this. Another thing I see is people just grabbing phones and scrolling on Instagram, Pinterest, whatever it is, It's all just an effort to buffer and avoid like your inbox, for example, because it's overflowing and every time you open it, you feel overwhelmed. Complete waste of time and energy. It could look like you fielding complaints once again about a team member because he was rude to his coworkers when they asked him about his part in the project. It could look like you doom scrolling LinkedIn for job postings because you are just so over your job and the people you have to deal with there. Can you see how not only do these habits literally waste time, but they also drain your energy? Another habituated way of thinking that is an energy drainer for a lot of people that I work with is viewing everything from the lens of I have to or I need to. I know for me personally, whenever I have a thought that starts with I have to, it usually does not create a very good feeling for me. The feelings that it creates for me are usually something like pressure or maybe dread or even overwhelm. Can you relate to that? So I'm constantly working to retrain my brain to choose thoughts more like I'm choosing to, or even I want to, or I get to, because that really is the truth. Almost always. Think about it. There are very few things in life that you actually have to do, especially at work. So, for example, we have 5 rescue dogs. I don't know why we did this to ourselves, but they all have their annual vet appointments during like the same 30, 45 days. This gets very expensive. So every January, when we start to rack up bills to the tune of $3,000 for healthy pets, I always feel like we need to get the dogs to the vet. We need to get the heartworm and the flea and tick and all the things. And I find myself being a little bit resentful about it. That's gross. I don't want to resent my dogs because I'm taking care of them. So I have to shift my frame of mind from we have to take the dogs to the vet and we have to pay hundreds of dollars for all their medication to keep them healthy to we get to take the dogs to the vet. We get to keep them healthy. We're lucky that we get to do this. So just that little shift in frame really does help me feel better because I love my dogs and I want them to be healthy. Listen, I'm not saying that there might not be negative consequences if you choose to not do a thing you're supposed to do, especially at work. There might be negative consequences, but they're almost never as negative as our brain wants us to believe they are. So, all I'm suggesting is pause, think about it, and really know the difference between I have to and I'm choosing to. The point is, you almost never truly have to do something. So why not tell yourself the truth about it? That you're choosing to do the thing. That makes me feel so much better. It at least helps me feel more calm and in control. And often it actually makes me feel something like empowered. And I'm going to choose feeling empowered over disempowered all day, every day. So, yes, this is yet another pitch to use the tools I have shared with you many times before to self coach and manage your mind. Even if you think you don't have time, actually, especially if you think you don't have time, you should work on managing your mind to manage your time and energy. So, when you free your mind from the absolute time suck that it is to have an unmanaged one, you will also free up your time to focus on things you actually want to do and things that give you energy rather than drain it. When you take a few minutes to manage your mind, instead of panicking over that stupid email, you write it, you hit send, and you never think about it again. This is what protects your energy. And seriously, how amazing does that sound? So, to recap, protecting your energy really comes down to just 2 things: soothe your nervous system, manage your mind, or what I like to say is become the boss of your brain. Manage your mind so that you can create thoughts on purpose, thoughts that help you feel calm and confident. That's it. It's just 2 simple steps. So, yes, it's simple, but it's not necessarily easy. I will be the first to admit that. So, give yourself some grace while you're changing these habits. Remember that really, however many years old you are, or at least however many years you've been in a job, is how many years you've been building these neural connections and these habituated ways of thinking that are actually time wasters and energy suckers. So, don't expect them to go away overnight. And if you want more detailed instructions on how to soothe your nervous system and become the boss of your brain, rewatch the video I just did 2 or 3 weeks ago, probably. It's titled something like The Only 2 Things You Need to Do to Transform Your Experience of Leadership. It is a really good one, and I give you 3-step processes for both soothing your nervous system and becoming the boss of your brain. So in that video, 2 powerful processes. If you haven't watched it, go back and watch it. It'll really help you implement everything that we've talked about here today. And just a random little side note, as I'm looking around my very tidy office space, a cluttered space equals a cluttered mind. So look around your space. Do you have piles of stuff laying everywhere? Do you have random post-it notes in random places? If you do, take a few minutes when you're done watching this video, which is basically right now, and tidy up your space. It is a super simple hack to boost your energy because a tidy space, a clean space, creates a clean mind. So there you have it. Thank you for watching. I will see you next week.